Ejected, huh? No, yeah, this game is hard and can be pretty stressful, especially as an imposter. If you like, I have some time, I can give you some tips. Didn't you also get ejected? Oh, that. No. Yeah, I thought it would be funny to kill someone in front of everyone and play dumb, see how long it took them to just vote me off, and it was funny. Come on, you have anything better to do? I suppose not. Alright, cool. So I tried making this one video, and it just didn't work. Holy shit, it would have been a stupid long video. So rather than cover everything half-assedly, I'm going to whole-ass everything and split this into 3 videos. Basic gameplay, playing the map, and navigating the meeting table. So how long have you been playing? Not long. This is only my 3rd game, and I don't know how I got caught so fast. And last game they voted me off, and I don't really understand why. I was crew. Alright, so we can start with basics. I'm making the basics of crew and imposter one video, because in my mind, they're tied to each other in a way that you can't really separate them from each other. However, I think the cycle starts with crew, so let's go over that. So as crew, you have 2 win conditions, either finishing all of your tasks, or managing to vote off the imposters. That said, you'll probably win by voting off imposters most of the time. Partially because that's the more glorious way to win, and so people will just not do their tasks because they don't want to. Sorry, little salt running through the veins on that one. I've lost a lot of games because rather than do tasks, some idiot named You Fool I decided that they wanted to try, and fail, to do big-brained 3000 IQ plays, rather than do their tasks. They end up voting off 3 crew members, and then when they die because of it, they refuse to do their tasks as a ghost. So yes, task wins are fine. But even if you don't think that you can get a task win, there is a very important reason you should still do your tasks. The taskbar. The taskbar tracks how many tasks you've done. As long as it isn't turned off, it will either update constantly or when a meeting starts. When the taskbar is set to always update, then it dictates how the imposters can fake their tasks. Anytime a task is finished from beginning to end, when the task becomes green on the list, the taskbar will update and move up. Imposters, being unable to do tasks, cannot actually update the taskbar themselves. They are forced to wait at a task until the bar moves. At least if someone is watching. If someone is waiting at a fast task for too long, then that can be a sign that they're faking a task. And if they finish a task and the bar doesn't move, then that is also a strong sign that they may be faking a task. That being said, these are soft evidence, and so going back to the report button just for that is likely to be a waste of time. Managing the taskbar is irrelevant moment to moment when they update on meetings. When updating on meetings, however, and normally, the taskbar has a second very important meaning: the imposter's time limit. The game doesn't have a time limit in the sense of the game will only last so long, but for imposters, the taskbar is their time limit. If they don't unalive the crew before that bar fills up, they lose, and so increasing the taskbar puts pressure on the imposter. The higher that bar gets, and the faster it moves, the more pressure, and the riskier of plays that the imposter will have to take. This puts them into more positions where they can get caught. However, if someone is refusing to do their tasks, and the imposter knows that, then they don't have to make those risky plays. You need to put the imposters under pressure in order to get them into positions where they can be caught. Let's talk about the actual nitty-gritty doing the tasks part now. Tasks fall under 3 categories, and 1 subcategory: short, long, common, and visual tasks. Short tasks are a task that has 1 short step, and will usually only take a few seconds to do once you get used to it. These include sorting artifacts, the circles, and logging temperatures. These tasks are likely to be the ones you have the most of, and these will always update the taskbar when you finish them. Long tasks are tasks that are either long, or take multiple steps in different spots. These include Simon Says, refueling, and the water wheels. The tasks with multiple steps will not update the taskbar until you finish the last step. And if they are in one location, most can be interrupted and returned to later. Common tasks are the tasks that are common to everyone on the crew. So if one person has it, everyone will have it. And if one person doesn't have it, then nobody will have it. There are only a few of these, and are something that are good to know all of, so I'm just going to tell you all of them. The card swipe and ID code, scanning the boarding pass, wires, and keys. Keys are one you should really keep an eye on, because you spawn in right next to keys, and so everyone will do that right away. If someone just bails while everyone else is huddled around keys, then that's immediately pretty iffy. And if someone is doing a common task in general that you don't have, that is also very suspicious. Finally, some tasks are also visual tasks. This means that they show an animation of some kind to everyone when you do them. This means that an imposter cannot fake this task, and when a crew member does it, anyone watching them knows that they are a crew member. This is the only way to objectively prove that someone is a crewmate. Keep in mind, though, that verifying yourself like this will put a target on your back, because imposters will usually want to kill people that have been proven innocent. I would highly suggest opening up a free play game in each map to get familiar with the tasks, how long they take, and how multi-step tasks lead into each other. This will give you an instinct for routing, for how to tell when somebody is faking a task, and just being able to get through your own tasks efficiently. Ultimately, though, the most important thing when running tasks is knowing where you've been, who you saw, and what you've been doing when. Knowing this information is an important step when you get to the meeting table, which again will be the final chapter. You don't need to be too detailed, though. You just need to know where you were when and who you saw. Let's talk about the imposter role now, which is dependent on understanding the crew role. It's also a lot more tense. As an imposter, you also have two win conditions. Either making enough people commit not breath so that there are an equal number of crew and imposters, and setting off a kill timer sabotage that goes down to 0. You will almost never win, though, by setting off a kill timer, because it is relatively easy for crewmates to fix the sabotage, assuming that not everyone falls victim to the bystander fallacy. So ultimately, what tools and tactics do you have to use to win as an imposter? The first thing to look at is your kill cooldown. This is your biggest limiting factor and what stops you from just killing everyone in a wild rampage of blood and fear. Unless you're a hacker. In which case, what the hell are you even doing here? You clearly don't care about getting better, asshole. Anyway, your kill cooldown will cool down to 0, where you can then turn off people's brains. Except for two situations where it's paused. In a use screen, such as cameras or door logs, and when you are hiding in a vent. It is very important to keep in mind the vents, because this means that you will need to sufficiently blend in order to continue to kill. I'll talk more about blending in the part on meetings. Speaking of those vents, though, venting is another important tool in your toolbox. In each map, there are vents that you can enter and allow you to traverse the map basically instantly. Assuming Editing Danny isn't being a massive dick, you should be seeing the Polis and Skeld vent maps now. That said, you don't really need a Mira vent map, because on Mira, every vent is interconnected. Knowing where vents lead is going to be important both so you know where your escape routes are, and so you know what not to say in a meeting. If there was a body in electrical, and you say you were in medbay, well, those two are linked. That's going to pretty quickly put some doubt in your alibi. There is one other major detail about vents I'd like to mention before I talk about sabotages. On Mira and Skeld, the vents have an animation, and crew can see that animation, even if they don't have vision into the room. They can't see who came out, but they can see that a vent was used. So, if they see the vent and security open, and then you walk out of security alone, then you're gonna have problems. Finally, I'm going to talk about the sabotages. These are the doors, kill timers, lights, and comms. Doors are pretty straightforward. You can temporarily close the doors of Skeld and Polis. On Skeld, you completely seal off a room for a few seconds, meaning nobody can come in or out until the doors reopen. On Polis, you will close the doors to a room until a player opens a specific door by flipping the switches. The doors can be used to keep someone out of a room and to slow people down from reaching bodies or from fixing a sabotage, giving you more time with another sabotage open. Just keep in mind, you cannot activate doors while another sabotage is active in Skeld. If you're setting off a sabotage, use doors to keep people away. Kill timers is what I call two different sabotages, O2 and reactor, / seismic stabilizers, but they're the same thing as reactors. Both sabotages set off an alarm and a kill timer. If the timer reaches 0, you win. These will typically draw players toward whatever points are the fix points, because what are they going to do? Let it go off? For reactors, you have to have 2 people actively fixing the sabotage, as in holding down the button. For O2, 2 different keypads need to have a code input. Theoretically, you can get O2 with just 1 person. You can use these to draw people away from bodies and build alibis by, being able to draw yourself over there as well. If you're confident that 2 people are already getting the whatever, you can go to the other side and comb for bodies. Because again, if something's going off, they're trying to draw you away from the other side of the map. Lights are the most common sabotage, and as much as I really want to go on a hipstery rant about how overrated they are, I can't. Lights are just really good. When lights go off, you essentially blind all crewmates, allowing you to get away with the things that you would never be able to get away with without lights on. On top of that, it gives you an incredibly easy alibi for basically anything happening around you, because you also can't see. Lights allows you to move and operate with a freedom that you do not get without them on. Keep in mind, you're not invincible. Cameras can still see, so crewmates on a camera will still see what you're doing if you're killing or venting under an active camera. Also, if lights come on while you're in the middle of something or in a particularly suspicious location, then you don't have much of an excuse. So keep an eye on where people are and when lights are going to be fixed, and don't do anything suspicious while they're coming on. Finally, the comms. The poor communication sabotage. I really want to say good things about it, but frankly, the skill floor is so high and the skill ceiling is so low that it's basically got a negative use gap. You'll almost always be better off using lights or a kill timer. But that said, it does still have use cases. When comms are sabotaged, it shuts off security tools like admin maps and cans, and it hides the task lists from crewmates. It doesn't actually stop them from doing tasks, however. You can use comms pretty early game to draw people to the comm room, because early game they actually do still need their list. However, I think the strongest use of comms is on Mira HQ, because it's one of the only ways to clear out those door logs, allowing you to actually traverse the maps via venting when somebody knows how to use the door logs. I'll talk more about the door logs and how to operate around them as crew and imposter in the next part when I talk about maps. While I don't think comms are incredibly useful, it does still have its use cases, and so if you see an opportunity where it's going to be useful, still do turn them on. So those are going to be the absolute basics. Mastering these should at least keep you alive past the first round and get you at least a couple kills as imposter. So go ahead and jump into a couple games and process this information, and in hopefully maybe a little less than a week, I'll have something out on maps, including the notorious Mira, which is probably one of the hardest maps to learn because it's so different. So I will see you then.